Welcome back, folks. You're watching Sport Federation TV. Nice to have you with us. For those of you that have joined us, well, of course, you know, we talk about our sports in the province and, of course, in the Cape Town area, coaches, administrators, etc. And you'll know that we've managed to speak to the guys from Judo on a number of occasions. Well, we're lucky enough to say now that we have from Cape Town Judo, Marco De Freitas. Marco's been a long-term practitioner of Judo. Welcome, Marco. Nice to have you in studio with us.
Hi there, JP. Thanks very much for having me today.
I'm right. It is the first time we've got you in the studio, right? Or have you been here before?
I think it may be the second time.
Second time?
Yeah. But good to be back, JP. Thank you for having me.
You've been involved in Judo forever. You're Cape Town, born and bred, icon, started fighting here, playing here. You're still involved in the game?
I am. It's really rewarding, nice to be involved and to go and give back to the sport.
Yeah.
It's certainly a huge part of my life, and yeah, really having fun doing it.
So Judo, one would think of Judo as a Judo fighter, but you guys still call them Judo players.
Yeah, I think that we prefer to be more inclusive, so to speak. You know, with Judo being an Olympic sport, I think it's important to also look at the reasons why people do Judo. You can either do it as a sport, you can do it as a self-defense, or you can simply do it just to keep fit and to be doing sport. So it certainly appeals to many different folks. So we don't really want to use the, I think, call it aggressive term, as in fighters. So we rather use the word players. I think it's more inclusive.
Judo has been one of the martial arts derivatives that has managed to stay uncomplicated.
Yes.
It's simple. There's Olympic Judo, there's World Judo, and you do Judo. There's no variations of Judo.
Correct.
That must be quite a peaceful process.
Yeah, I think what is fantastic about our sport is that it's universal. When you grow through the ranks of Judo in your grading, we also use grading belts. So when you attain the level of black belt, a black belt in Judo is universal. Your technique is recognized at a dojo in Cape Town, in Tokyo, in London. So that is really nice, is that Judo is truly universal. You may not be able to speak the person's language if you're on the mat, but if you're in a dojo, your etiquette is universal. And when you are being explained techniques, or you perform a technique, even if it's just visual, it's universal.
So there's an international syllabus.
International syllabus, correct, yeah. So Judo involves throwing, holding, strangling, and arm bars, which are arm locks. So it involves getting a technical score where you throw your opponent with speed, force, and control, largely on the back. That would win you the bout, or it would get you a lesser score. Then similarly, from a holding down position, you'd have to have control of the shoulder, hold the person down for 20 seconds. You'd then be awarded the fight, so to speak. And then if there's a submission, whether it's a strangle or whether it's an arm lock, you'd then submit to your opponent by tapping them 3 times, and that would then win you the fight.
So one of the things that we've noticed in the last few years has been this explosion of mixed martial arts, of MMA.
Sure.
And in the MMA space, we saw that jiu-jitsu and wrestling for a long time were the buzzwords, that if you were a good wrestler or a good jiu-jitsu fighter, you were going to do well in MMA. But more recently, these guys all seem to have realized that if you were a good judo fighter, you're probably going to do better than the wrestling guys and the jiu-jitsu guys.
Correct. So
have I got it right?
So I think that if you look at your point of engagement, the minute you start, you are in a standing position. So I think someone who has a skill set in a martial art which stems from a standing position, I think that you do have an advantage. If you go back,
which judo's the reigning, call it naturally, that's what you do.
Correct. You know, if you look at movies on TV and you look at the John Wick franchise, there's a lot of judo in that.
Right.
Yeah. So if you Google judo in movies, you'll see where judo is used in movies.
So the other thing about judo that I have noticed over the years is athletes that are in other sports, whether they're in rugby or swimming or tennis, that had a judo grounding when they grew up as a kid and they were doing judo from the start, learning how to fall and roll and so on, have always been very skilled within the other sports.
Correct. So if you look at judo, as part of your foundation in the sport, we teach you how to fall safely.
Yeah.
If you can fall safely, then you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
The important thing is, if you get hurt in the sport, then you're not going to come back to it.
Yeah.
Your fellow player then loses out on a practice partner at the next session. So from a coaching perspective, it's imperative to go and coach players in a safe way, to teach them how to fall properly so that they don't get hurt. But then similarly, if you can throw someone safely, then you can be thrown safely as well.
And then, of course, your center of gravity and your breathing and your timing and all of those factors as well.
Correct. So it all works. And if you and as you say, if you look at other sports, if you mentioned rugby earlier, if you don't feel afraid of falling, it then transitions into other sports. So if I look at my son plays rugby, and he's a brilliant tackler. He's not scared to hit the ground to go and tackle someone below the knees. And then similarly, if you are being tackled and you've been exposed to a martial arts sport where you do fall, you then know how to fall correctly.
Talk to us a little bit about Cape Town Judo clubs. How does one join up? What's the entry point?
So we've got clubs that are geographically well represented within the Western Cape. In terms of Cape Town as such, there's a club based in the CBD. We've got another one in Observatory. We've got we're very present within the Southern Suburbs school network. So we've got judo in schools in the Southern Suburbs. We have a club in Mitchell's Plain. We've got one in the South Peninsula. We've got one in Plumstead.
Wow, so you've got a pretty big footprint. I mean,
there's a presence, and in the Northern Suburbs. So if you look at it, we've got about 12 clubs that are registered. So we certainly are very excited about the growth of the sport. We've been we've been marketing the sport to women and children, and that's something that we're very proud of. In terms of, we are seeing an increase in the participation of women and children. And what's also quite nice is that in our most recent competition held at UCT, we saw a return of your more mature judokas, so to speak. So folk had been off the mat for a while. Guys within their 30s and early 40s, coming back to go.
But your judo guys will do judo until they're 100 years old.
Generally speaking,
well, maybe not 100, but
well,
we've seen that it's one of your sports that people will keep practicing whether they're competing or not.
Correct. I mean, I think that if you look at judo in a masters category, we've got very competitive judoka ranging from the ages of 30 to the age of 60, and your masters categories go up in increments of 5 years. And we're seeing people still very active in judo. Even beyond the age of 40. So,
So how do I get started? I mean, you're talking about all these clubs that you got around. You got judo at schools. If I want to start judo, if I want to get involved, how do parents get their kids involved? Because the other side, which you haven't told us about yet, is that being a martial art and the solid foundation is that you guys also offer the value of teaching kids a value system. Integrity and respect and so on.
If you go onto the internet and you Google judo clubs in Cape Town, they generally come up. Our one comes up. Our club is called the Judocon, and then I can obviously point you in the right direction. You can also log on to capetownjudo.co.za. There's a landing page there. So
if I arrive, what would parents typically expect if I arrive at your club?
If you arrive at our club, you'd be welcomed with open arms. Generally come out of politeness, arrive 15 minutes before the class is due to start. Most clubs have got practice judo gis available. We've got a full-size curve that we would then offer folk. Otherwise, a pair of tracksuit pants and
do you have beginners classes and more senior classes? Is it combined? Is it easy enough to join in?
At the end of the day, we will accommodate anyone. So we're very fortunate that we've got depth of coaches, and if you've got someone who is raw and beginning, we'll be happy to take you to one side of the mat or take you onto the other practice mat at our club.
You're going to the Nationals. We've got limited time left.
Okay.
You're going to the South African Championship soon
Yes.
in Pretoria, I believe.
Yep.
Who's going? What are you expecting?
So we've got about 50 players from Cape Town Judo representing us. So it's very exciting. Some of the players, they are obviously repeat competitors at the Nationals, but typically it's the pinnacle of the judo sporting calendar. So I'm very, very proud of our players who are going there to go and represent Cape Town Judo. Our neighbouring district, Cape Winelands, will also be there, as will all of the other districts on our country. And then similarly, our officials. It gives our officials, our referees, our technical officials, our coaches to be exposed to judo at a national level. So not only are the players benefiting, but our officials and coaches are also benefiting from interacting with the rest of the judo family on a national level. And then we also say to folk, judo's an annual sport, and then typically in the second half of the year, we focus on coaching and education, which is towards the grading side of things, and we then refine the judoka's techniques and move towards the annual black belt grading, which is held in the north of our country and south of our country in December annually.
Marco, we'll leave it at that. I'm going to say thanks for joining us. Hopefully we get some of your fighters or players in studio with us shortly, and good luck for the Nationals.
Thanks very much, JP. Thank you, listeners. Appreciate it.
There we go, folks. Marco De Freitas from Cape Town Judo. The Kodokan Judo is, of course, in the UCT area. Go to their website, www.kodokanjudo.co.za.
Judokan.
Kodokan, judokan.co.za.
Practicing Kodokan Judo.
Practicing Kodokan. Just Google it, Kodokan Judo in Cape Town, folks. It'll come up. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic sporting weekend. Bye-bye.